Discover how a homeless boy unlocked the hidden secrets to build an amazing billion-dollar empire. As the autumn chills swept through the streets of Chicago, 12-year-old Jason clutched his grandfather's hand tightly. They trudged along the cracked sidewalk, their cardboard shelter weighing heavy in their minds. The crisp air held the scent of fallen leaves and hard days ahead. They were outcasts in a city that had long forgotten their names. But beneath the shadow of looming high-rises, a brilliant fire flickered in Jason's heart, fed by the tales his grandfather told of men who clawed their way from the depths of despair to success. "Never forget, kid," Grandpa Sam would say, his voice coarse from years of shouting commands in the military. "Hard work and resilience can break any chain." Jason nodded, feeling the essence of those words carve out a space of hope in his chest. They had been living together in that cardboard fortress for months, and with the chilly breeze came the stinging truth that food and warmth were becoming scarce. 2 streets over, kids in fresh sneakers laughed, their carelessness a sharp contrast to Jason's struggle. On school days, he walked with his head bowed, hiding the tattered fabric of his clothes, knowing that the mocking voices were never far behind. "Look at the homeless kid," they would jeer, echoing his insecurities. But Jason remembered his grandfather's stories, the billionaires who once scrounged for scraps, whose dreams soared beyond the rooftops that pressed on him now. One day, the spark ignited. "Lemonade," he exclaimed aloud to himself, his mind racing. Homemade lemonade in the park would be his first step. He gathered discarded cups, squeezed lemons he bought with their last change, and set up a stand. Fresh lemonade, only $1. His heartbeat quickened as locals began stopping by, drawn not just by the drink, but by the buoyant spirit of a boy determined to change his fate. As laughter and compliments flowed, Jason realized the possibilities were endless. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But the harsh reality of the world took a swift turn. At a local event, Jason encountered a wealthy entrepreneur who scoffed at his lemonade stand. "This is just a childish endeavor," the man dismissed, casting a shadow over Jason's hard effort. Fire ignited in his veins. "I'll show you," he thought, determination surging through him like wild thunder. But before Jason could even start proving his worth, disaster struck. An eviction notice slipped under their cardboard door. Panic clawed at him as he faced the reality of losing the only home he had ever known. Alone in the busy streets, Jason's heart felt heavier than ever. Tears stung his eyes, every droplet a symbol of injustice he'd witnessed. Just as despair threatened to swallow him whole, he heard whisperings of a charity gala. Maybe there was a way to raise his voice and fight for those like him. If he could stand tall among the privileged, bearing the weight of his story, could he show them that dreams know no boundaries? And as the night approached, Jason clenched his fists, waiting for the moment when he could confront the entrepreneur who belittled him. Would anyone listen to the boy with dirt on his clothes and fire in his heart? The air buzzed with the electricity of his intention, a world waiting to hear his cry for justice. The weight hung heavy in the air. Could he share his truth without sacrificing the love that upheld him? The gala hall sparkled under the dim lights, filled with the laughter of polished smiles and tailored suits. Jason stood outside, his heart pounding so loud he could hear it echo in his ears. He gazed at the luxury that surrounded him, every glint of crystal and shimmer of silk a reminder of what he didn't have. Yet, that fire in his chest burned stronger than ever. He had a purpose tonight. Taking a deep breath, he walked through the grand entrance. The chatter washed over him like waves, yet he felt like he was suspended, an outsider with a mission. His clothes were worn, the fabric telling tales of long days and cold nights. But in that moment, he decided they would not define him. The sound of his steps echoed softly against the marble floor as he moved further into the throng of guests, searching for a familiar face, the entrepreneur who had mocked him. "Are you lost, young man?" A woman with perfectly manicured nails and a sparkling necklace asked, eyeing him with an air of condescension. "No, ma'am. I'm here to speak," he replied, his voice steady despite the tremors in his stomach. She raised an eyebrow, skepticism evident. But before she could respond, Jason spotted him. The entrepreneur leaned back against a pillar, smirking as he sipped his drink. Jason's resolve solidified. Pushing through the crowd, he approached, feeling every set of eyes bore into him. The laughter faded slightly as whispers began to ripple through the room. "What's this?" the man asked, his arrogance barely veiled. "A kid in rags wants to talk to me?" Jason straightened up, pulling on the fragments of courage that remained. "You said my lemonade stand was childish," he started, voice clear and strong. "But that childish endeavor is how I plan to change my life." Mumbles of intrigue flurried through the crowd, and he could sense their interest growing. The man took a step forward, a condescending smile still poised on his lips. "And what exactly do you think you'll accomplish?" "I want to tell my story," Jason replied, heart pounding even louder now. "Not just mine, but the countless kids like me. There are so many out there who dream bigger than their circumstances let them. We can't just be invisible." Silence fell. For a heartbeat, the world stopped, and all eyes were on him. Jason could see the shifting emotions in their faces: curiosity, skepticism, sympathy. The entrepreneur glanced around, slowly realizing he was no longer just observing a harmless act. With a deep breath, Jason continued, fueled by the passion that had kept him going through all the harsh nights. "I can turn my company into something bigger than a lemonade stand. I will show everyone that we can rise if given the chance." His voice bellowed with the strength of his dreams. "I want the respect of those who don't see us. We're not just homeless. We are future leaders." As he spoke, something shifted in the crowd. Murmurs of encouragement began to rise, people connecting with his desperate hope. He saw faces that once looked down on him beginning to understand. "The truth is," Jason said, quieter now but even more impactful, "dreams are not just for the ones who have everything. They belong to all of us." And as his words hung in the air, the entrepreneur's smug expression faded into contemplation, eyes now searching for meaning. What had he dismissed as childish might be, in fact, a profound truth that no wealth could buy. Would they stand with him, or would they let the moment slip away? The atmosphere shifted, the crowd now holding its breath, and Jason wondered, could this be the spark to ignite change? Not just for him, but for all the invisible kids dreaming in the shadows? What would the wealthy choose? The comfort of their privilege or the call of hope rising from the streets? The silence hung thick in the air, a tension that felt almost electric. Jason scanned the faces around him, searching for some spark of recognition, something that could tell him this was working. A woman in the front row clutched her purse, while a middle-aged man shifted from foot to foot, clearly caught off guard. The entrepreneur's eyes narrowed, and Jason felt the room teeter on the edge of belief. "Respect," the man finally replied, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "What respect do you deserve? You look like you've crawled out of the gutter. You have no education, no backing. What gives you the right to speak here?" Jason took a breath, his heart racing, but he refused to back down. "Because I know what it means to struggle. I know what it feels like to fight for every scrap of hope. I know that determination trumps privilege any day." He saw a flicker of surprise in the crowd. They were not used to someone like him standing so boldly in this place. The more he spoke, the more the nervous energy transformed into something powerful. Whispers sparked excitement, and he sensed a growing tide shifting in his favor. "Imagine this," he said, gripping the edge of the podium as though it were a lifeline. "A lemonade stand born from necessity, transformed into a thriving business. It's not just about lemonade. It's about sustainability, community, and hope. I want to create opportunities for others like me. If we can build a future together, it won't just change my life, it will change the lives of many." The entrepreneur's smirk wavered, replaced by something that looked suspiciously like uncertainty. Jason pressed on, knowing he was surging forward on the waves of their shifting perceptions. "I'm not invisibly homeless. I'm visible. I'm a part of this city, of your city. And like you, I want my voice to be heard, my dreams to be realized. All I need is a chance to prove it. Around him, soft nods materialized, the whispers growing into a gentle swell of support. He spotted the woman with the manicured nails. Disbelief was replaced with intrigue in her eyes. Suddenly, the entrepreneur stepped forward, his demeanor no longer cocky, but calculating. You think this is about respect? He paused, and the crowd leaned in, eager for the next words. It's about results. Show me you can turn this dream into reality, and I'll consider investing. Jason's heart raced. This was it. All the late nights spent dreaming, all the struggles bundled in desperation, and here stood a man who could offer him a lifeline. But now wasn't the time to get caught in the glimmer of opportunity. It was the moment to show that the real change came from within. I'll show you results, Jason declared, full of strength. But not just for myself. I want to lead a movement, a chance for kids just like me to rise, too. It's about a future that lifts us all. And as the crowd erupted into a mix of applause and astonished murmurs, he felt a rush of hope blaze within him. The room was no longer just a hall filled with rich faces. It became a collective that believed, even just a little, in the power of shared dreams. However, just as victory seemed within reach, Jason noticed a shadow passing over the entrepreneur's face, a momentary doubt. Was this investment really about belief, or just another way to keep the system intact? Jason stared into the man's eyes, determined to uncover the truth behind the shiny surface of wealth. Suddenly, thoughts wrestled with one another. What if this was just the beginning of a far greater journey? One where he would have to probe deeper into the complexities of ambition, trust, and loyalty. With equal parts enthusiasm and dread, he realized that he had merely cracked open the door of possibility. What would happen next? Would he walk through, or would he discover a turbulent storm waiting for him on the other side? The buzz of excitement crackled in the air, but underneath it all, Jason felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down harder than ever. The entrepreneur's challenge echoed in his mind. Show me results. It wasn't just a dare. It was a promise wrapped in a snare, a test he couldn't afford to fail. He stepped away from the podium, the claps of approval still ringing in his ears, and he glanced back at the crowd. They were now more than just spectators. They were potential allies, partners in a dream bigger than himself. But the faces around him were still layered with skepticism, even the ones that now nodded along. What happens next? He whispered to himself, the thought both thrilling and frightening. He had spent so long alone, clawing his way to hope, and now here stood the chance to forge something real. But could he really do it? Could he transform ambition into action? As Jason gathered his thoughts, he recognized one person in the back of the room, the woman from before, the one with the strong, questioning eyes. She was still watching him, a mixture of support and diving curiosity painted across her features. Her presence anchored him, reminding him he wasn't alone. He needed her on his side, someone who understood the struggle. Taking a deep breath, he wandered toward her, the crowd swirling with chatter. What did you think? He asked, unsure of how she would respond. I think you have something they don't, she said, her gaze unwavering. You have fire. People can feel it. But that isn't enough. You need a plan, you need substance. Her words struck a chord deep within him. Yes, he needed a plan. Not just talk. Okay, Jason replied, the gears in his mind clicking. What if we create something right here, right now? A rallying call. I want a workshop. A space where kids like me can come together, share ideas, and learn the ropes of business and entrepreneurship. He saw her eyebrow raise, intrigued but cautious. And you think a simple workshop will change the game? No, he exclaimed, his energy building. It'll be a launchpad. These kids need tools, mentors, and connections. We can give them skills and confidence. Before you know it, we'll have a community rising up. Together. The gleam of her eyes shifted to one of consideration. That's ambitious, she said slowly, fairness in her tone. But what makes you think others will join you? Jason thought of kids hiding behind alleyways, sipping lemonade from crumpled cups. Because they're hungry for a purpose. Just like me. If they see I'm out here trying, they'll want in. We just need someone to believe. Okay, she replied, a hint of a smile starting. So where do we begin? Her support lit a spark in him, fueling a rush of ideas. Let us reach out to local businesses and community centers. We can organize an event, maybe a mini fair. Show them what we can build together. What do you think? As they talked details, Jason felt clarity washing over him, a serene assurance that this was possible. The crowd, once an intimidating backdrop, now faded away as their collaboration unfolded in front of him like a banner in the wind. But just as he felt the momentum building, a shiver of doubt crawled up his spine. What if the entrepreneur wouldn't see Jason's vision? What if the risks outweighed the rewards? As these questions rolled through his mind, Jason paused, locking eyes with the woman again. You'll help, right? Of course, she replied, unwavering. But Jason noticed a brief flicker of concern in her gaze. But you need to think about what it means when you put yourself out there. Everything changes, friends, enemies. Your journey has just begun, Jason. It hit him hard. There was no turning back now. He was ready to step into the unknown, ready to fight for his dream and those he hoped to uplift. But intention wasn't enough. He needed to navigate this new world with strategy and strength. With excitement and anxiety bubbling in his chest, Jason murmured, I just hope it's worth it. Only time would tell if the fire ignited would consume him or forge something greater than himself. Would he truly have what it takes to transform his dreams into a legacy? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the street as Jason and the woman left the event. He could feel the buzz of possibility humming through his veins. Her name was Maya, a name that felt like it carried weight and promise. They stepped onto the pavement, the sounds of the city swirling around them. People moved with purpose, their lives unfolding in endless stories, and Jason longed to become a part of that. What's next, then? Maya asked, her voice steady but laced with excitement. It was a simple question, but one that resonated deeply. He had meant to draw her in, but her interest made him feel like he was stepping into a better version of himself. Well, Jason started, thoughts rushing like a subway train. We need a solid plan. How do we find a space? How do we gather kids? Is there even a budget? Maya nodded, pulling out her phone. Let us look for community centers or schools that might partner with us. They typically have spaces available. And as for gathering kids, social media might work, right? We can create an event page for our mini fair. We could have activities where they learn about business while having fun. His heart raced with every word. As they brainstormed ideas, gusts of wind picked up, fluttering fallen leaves around them, symbolizing change. The world felt alive with possibility, but alongside that, Jason could feel the weight of doubt creeping in again. What if they couldn't get enough kids to show? What if nobody cared? Maya seemingly read his thoughts. Remember, it's early. Just starting something is already a win. You're drawing from your own experience, and that's powerful. Jason smiled at her encouragement, feeling bolstered. He didn't want to let her down. You really believe in this? I do, she replied. And I believe in you. Her faith was a lifeline. He pushed aside the swirling doubts, focusing instead on the goal. They discussed potential workshops they could offer, even tossing ideas around about inviting local entrepreneurs to speak. Real talk, real lives. Positivity spilled out of him as they worked through the logistics. Hours drifted away, yet the energy only built. As twilight cloaked the city, the atmosphere shifted, streetlights flickered on, and glow reflected off nearby windows. The vibrant colors soaked into him. With each step they took, everything felt more alive, more real. Suddenly, Jason noticed a group of kids kicking around a soccer ball in a nearby park. His heart tugged at the sight. It fueled his fire. Look at them, he said, pointing. They're just hanging out doing nothing. What if that could be us? Giving them something to look forward to, showing them they matter? Maya turned to him, her eyes sparkling. Exactly. They need to see possibility in themselves. That's where you come in. Jason took a deep breath, feeling the rush of hope swell up in him. He remembered the boy who used to hide and dream, far from the world. Then let us do this. Let us make a difference for them. This workshop is not just an idea. It will be a movement. Let us make it happen, Jason, she affirmed, and he felt strengthened by the assurance in her voice. But as they began to plan the next steps, an unsettling thought lingered. What if they met resistance? The world wasn't on the brink of empathy, and success was uncertain. Do you really think people will care enough to help us? He asked, swallowing hard. We'll never know until we try, Maya replied, an unshakable belief shining in her eyes. Jason nodded, but a prickle of fear shot through him. What if they failed? What if his dream never took flight? The sensation of urgency danced within him. He was teetering on the edge of something so much larger than himself. Moments later, they parted ways with plans to meet again tomorrow. As he walked home, a storm of thoughts collided in his head. In the quiet hush of the night, Jason whispered to the city, I hope this doesn't break me. Little did he know. That very night would unveil truths he wasn't prepared for, threatening to shatter everything he thought he knew. Jason awoke to the faint glow of dawn creeping through the curtains, washing the room in soft, pale light. His mind was still tangled with thoughts from the previous night. Could they really make a difference? He sat up, the weight of the world pressing on his chest, making it hard to breathe as he padded to the kitchen for coffee. A quick glance at his phone revealed a message from Maya, her words brightening his uncertain morning. Let us meet at the cafe at 10. I found some community centers that might work. Her enthusiasm cut through his apprehension like a dawn breaking through a darkened night. With each sip of coffee, he felt the excitement building again, pushing aside those nagging doubts. He thought about the kids they wanted to help, the faces lighting up at the thought of new possibilities. The moment he slipped on his jacket, he decided to hold on to that energy for as long as he could. The cafe was bustling when he arrived. The aroma of freshly baked pastries filled the air, mingling with the lively chatter. Jason spotted Maya at a corner table, scanning through her notes. She looked up, a radiant smile transforming her face when she saw him. Hey, I think I have some solid leads. She beamed. He slid into the seat across from her. You found a space? 3 potential centers. Maya exclaimed, excitement bubbling over. I emailed them all this morning. Here's what I'm thinking. We should pitch our idea and showcase why it's important. Jason leaned in, feeling the spark of passion ignite between them. And we should be ready for questions. What kind of impact can we present? Exactly. We need to show them that these kids deserve better options. Maya's eyes glimmered with determination. We could highlight what we aim to achieve, showcase the spreadsheets, testimonials from local businesses, everything to make it real. They spent the next hour brainstorming, diving deep into logistics and crafting a presentation that could turn their dreams into a reality. With each point they discussed, Jason felt the fear that had gripped him start to loosen its hold. Then, just as he was beginning to believe they could actually pull this off, he heard the familiar sound of a commotion outside. A group of kids burst through the cafe's door, laughter and shouts cascading in with them. They ran up to the counter, gleefully debating which treats to get. Watching them, Jason's chest felt as if it might burst. These kids, they were vibrant, full of dreams and laughter. But amid the joy, he also caught a glimpse of something else. A pair of eyes from the corner observing the scene, distant and lost. The boy looked a little older than the rest. His clothes were worn, his face muddy, but the flicker of hope in his eyes was unmistakable. Hey, what's wrong? Maya asked, noticing the shift in his expression. Look at that kid, Jason pointed. He's not like the others. What kind of options does he have? Maya followed his gaze, her heart visibly aching. We need to reach kids like him. They matter just as much. As realization sank in, Jason felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. How do we get to them? How do we make sure he sees the possibility? Maya reached across the table and squeezed his hand. That's why we're doing this, Jason. We can't let anyone fall through the cracks. We'll make it happen, together. Their resolve hardened again, a renewed sense of purpose igniting between them. Yet deep down, Jason wondered, was a single workshop enough? Could any initiative truly create change for a boy like that, a boy who needed so much more than what he had? As they prepared to head out and meet with potential partners, that question loomed large in Jason's mind, weighing heavily on the need to act. Would they be ready when the time came to confront not just systems, but the very hearts of the community? Jason took a deep breath as they stepped outside, the bustling sounds of the city fading just a little. This was just the beginning, and they were about to dive into a world filled with unimaginable challenges, but also those hidden possibilities, waiting to be uncovered. As they walked down the street, shadows grew long behind them, mixing with the bright rays of sunlight cutting through. It was a delicate balance, a dance between light and dark, hope and despair. Yet before Jason could voice his thoughts, a nearby shout echoed. "Hey, you gotta see this." There was urgency in the voice, stirring something deep within him. "What now?" Jason muttered under his breath, a mix of curiosity and caution filling his body. Something told him this was no ordinary commotion. The next moment would change everything. Jason felt a jolt of curiosity ripple through him. He glanced at Maya, who wore a look of intrigue mixed with concern. "Should we check it out?" he asked, his heart racing as the commotion grew louder. "Yeah, let us go see," she replied, her eyes sparkling with that familiar blend of adventure and determination. They moved toward a small crowd forming near the entrance of the cafe. The air buzzed with whispers and laughter, drawing them in like a moth to a flame. As they approached, Jason caught sight of the boy who had been watching from the corner. He was standing on a large crate, arms raised high in the air, looking like he was about to give the performance of a lifetime. The crowd seemed captivated, some laughing, others simply watching with wide eyes. "Look," Maya nudged him. "It's him." Jason nodded, his heart aching a little at the sight. The boy's clothes were still tattered, his hair disheveled, but here, on that crate, he was the center of attention. The weight of the world seemed to lift for a moment, replaced by the infectious energy of youth. "Listen up, everybody," the boy shouted, his voice surprisingly strong. "I'm gonna show you something amazing, something that could change everything." A hush fell over the crowd, curiosity like a thread binding them together. The boy shuffled his feet and leaned forward, his eyes glinting with mischievous confidence. "I've got an idea. Have you ever thought about how it feels to be stuck without options?" He paused, scanning the crowd. Jason's heart hammered as he exchanged glances with Maya. There was something deeper brewing here, something beyond mere entertainment. "I know what it feels like, but you know what? We're not alone. We can change that." His words rang loud and clear, pulling at Jason's heartstrings. He spoke about dreams. He spoke about hope. He shared ideas about creating a community where everyone had a chance, where no one would have to feel lost or forgotten. He didn't just want to entertain, he wanted to inspire. Together, he cried, "We can make this a better place. Who's with me?" The crowd erupted in cheers and applause, their faces bright with enthusiasm. Jason's insides churned. He thought of the boy in the cafe, the one he had noticed just moments before. Was this the difference he yearned to make? Was this the spark he had been looking for? As the crowd cheered around them, he felt a pull, a growing need to join this young boy on the crate. The energy in the air was electric, and Jason realized the boy wasn't just talking. He was unlocking something bigger. "Maya, we need to help him," Jason exclaimed, urgency flooding his voice. "This could be our chance to get the community involved." Maya nodded fervently, her eyes shimmering with determination. "You're right. Let us not just watch, we can share our resources. We can help spread the word about his vision." Jason's mind raced. They could set up workshops, invite community leaders, and create events that could truly make a difference. This boy was overflowing with potential, and they could channel that energy into something real. But as he looked at the boy, 100 questions flooded back. What was his story? How had he come up with those ideas? Before he could voice any concerns, the boy's voice rang out once more. "Who believes we can build something amazing, together?" Jason's chest swelled with an unfamiliar sense of hope. He raised his hand amid the cheers, feeling a rush of unity, a wave of purpose like he had never experienced before. He wanted to seize this moment. They could meet with that boy and discuss a plan that could build bridges, a plan that could turn dreams into action. But there was still that nagging question. Was he ready for the depth of the boy's story and the realities they might face? As the boy stepped down from the crate, a triumphant smile on his dirt-smudged face, Jason felt the weight of a new calling settle on his shoulders. This journey was just beginning, but deep down, a whisper warned him. What if the boy held the key to not just a community's dreams, but to Jason's very own? Transformation. The energy in the cafe shifted as the boy stepped down, the crowd slowly dispersing, but the fervor of hope lingered in the air. Jason watched, his heart racing, as the boy beamed at the applause, a king amidst a fragile crowd of subjects. Maya, Jason said, turning to her, we need to talk to him. We can't waste this moment. They started to move through the remnants of the crowd, people patting each other on the back, sharing ideas sparked by the boy's words. Maya's grip on his arm tightened. Do you think he'll talk to us? Jason shrugged, a faint smile lifting the corners of his mouth. Why not? If he inspired them, he can definitely inspire us. They crossed the remaining distance to where the boy was now standing, surrounded by a few eager listeners. As Jason and Maya approached, he looked up, his smile widening, lighting up his face. Hey, you guys were cheering, the boy said, his eyes sparkling with energy. Didn't he think I'd get this much support? We loved what you said, Maya chimed in. Your ideas, they were amazing. We want to help. Help? The boy's brows furrowed momentarily, as if he didn't quite believe them. You mean it? Absolutely. Jason interjected, feeling the weight of determination in his voice. We can organize workshops, connect you with local leaders. Your vision is powerful. It needs to be seen. The boy blinked, surprise mingling with cautious hope. But what do you get out of it? Maya hesitated, glancing at Jason. He knew the answer was more than just the drive to help. We want to be part of something bigger, a chance to make a difference, for our community and for ourselves, he confessed, his honesty hanging in the air like a delicate thread. A flicker of understanding crossed the boy's face. Okay, I'm in. But first, you need to know something important. As he led them to a quieter corner, the weight of his story settled like a fog. My name's Leo, he began, his tone shifting from playful to serious. I've lived on the streets for a long time. I've seen things, felt things that no kid should ever have to. Jason's heart sank. He imagined struggle in abstract terms, but hearing Leo's raw honesty struck a chord deep inside him. But I've got dreams too, Leo continued, his voice growing stronger. I want to help others see that there are still paths for us, even when everything feels dark. Maya nodded, tears shining in her eyes. You know, when you were up there, it felt like you were shining a light. It made people want to be better. Leo's face broke into a grin. Exactly. But I need help with more than just ideas. We need space, resources. I can't do this alone. Jason felt an urgency bubble inside him. This wasn't just about Leo anymore. It was about community, about belonging. We can work on that together, he promised. Let us plan a meeting. We'll gather support. We can make a network, reach out to nonprofits, Maya chimed in, and host events. Fundraisers and awareness campaigns, anything to get people talking. Yes, Leo exclaimed, his earlier energy returning, excitement filling the gap left by uncertainty. I love it. We'll do this together. For the first time, Jason felt the tension begin to lift. Perhaps this was the light he had been searching for too. But even as hope rose within him, a nagging apprehension lingered. What challenges lay ahead? And could they truly navigate Leo's past while building a brighter future? As they planned their next steps, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something transformative. Wait, Leo suddenly asked, looking earnestly at them both. What if we bring in others who struggled too? I want to make this for everyone who feels lost. Jason glanced at Maya, their eyes silently communicating the urgency and excitement of what lay ahead. They were embarking on a journey that could reshape not just their lives, but countless others. But as anticipation swirled around them, one question emerged, heavy and unshakable. Would they be able to sustain the hope when adversity hit hard? Jason couldn't help but feel an electric buzz in the air as they continued their conversation. Leo's enthusiasm was infectious. It spread through Jason and Maya like wildfire, pushing aside the doubts that had tethered them to the ground. Bringing in others is a brilliant idea, Leo, Jason said, excitement bubbling in his throat. Together, we can create something that reverberates throughout the community. Could spark a movement. Leo nodded, his youthful face now radiating the weight of his aspirations. If I could just show them that it's okay to ask for help, to reach out, that it's okay to be vulnerable. This is our chance. Maya was scribbling notes furiously, her pencil scratching against the paper. We can start by reaching out to the local shelters and community centers. They'll know who needs support the most. Let us coordinate a meeting by next week, Jason suggested, his mind racing ahead. We can gather interested parties, share our vision, and brainstorm ideas. But, Leo, he paused, gears in his head turning, do you think these people will trust us? Leo's gaze darkened for a moment. Trust is hard to come by when you've been let down. But we can be the ones who show them we care. We have to earn it. His tone shifted from excitement to seriousness, carrying a weight that Jason and Maya could feel. What do you want to say to them? Maya asked, curious and hopeful. I'll start by sharing my story, Leo said, his voice steady. I'll give them a glimpse into my life. Show them it's not about pity, it's about unity. We've all faced our struggles. His eyes sparkled again, igniting the space around them. I want to build a bridge so they know they're not alone. Jason quietly admired Leo's resolve. That's powerful, man. But uncertainty crept back into Leo's expression. I just don't want to fail. What if I can't bring enough people together? What if no one believes in us? Maya reached out, squeezing his shoulder gently, grounding him. You're already a light, Leo. You shone so bright on that stage. It's about igniting others' courage, and we're here to spark that flame together. No one can face this alone. Yes. Together, Jason shouted with gusto, we have the power to change lives. Nothing worth having comes easy. We will face setbacks, but those will only make us stronger. Leo's shoulders relaxed at their words. All right, then we'll prepare for our meeting. But let us make it special. I want it to be a place where everyone can voice themselves, where they are seen and heard. An idea hit Jason like a lightning bolt. What if we turn this meeting into an event? Host it at the cafe. We could set up a program, a panel discussion. Let us feature people who have stories like yours, real stories of overcoming adversity. Maya's eyes sparkled. And we can include art, music, everything. It will be our celebration of resilience. We'll call it Voices Rising. Leo grinned, bouncing on his heels. Yes. A platform. A way to amplify our voices. Let us do it. But the thrill of excitement was interrupted by a sudden tinge of anxiety. Jason knew the road ahead would not be easy. They could face skepticism or worse, a lack of commitment from those who needed the most support. Would Voices Rising truly resonate? As they dove into planning details and tossing around ideas like confetti, a sense of urgency settled around them. They wanted to act fast, but the clock was ticking. They had no idea what was outside the walls of that cafe, waiting to challenge them. Suddenly, Jason's phone buzzed insistently in his pocket, startling him. He pulled it out, eyes wide. The message was from a local nonprofit, and it felt pivotal. Guys, this could change everything, he exclaimed, unfolding the screen breathlessly. Maya and Leo leaned in, curiosity etched on their faces. But what Jason read sent a shiver down his spine. Could this be the break they were waiting for, or just a new hurdle to overcome? We might need to rethink our strategy. He started, the weight of uncertainty heavy in the air. What did the message hold that made Jason's voice tremble, and how would it affect their plans? Jason felt a rush of disappointment surge through him as he read the message over again. The local nonprofit had regrets. Their grant proposal for the community project had been denied due to budget constraints. The words felt like a punch to the gut. After all their discussions, all their hopes, this setback was brutal. What is it? Maya asked, her voice barely a whisper. They turned us down. The grant proposal for support. They won't fund us, Jason responded, his voice thick with frustration. Leo's face fell, shifting from excitement to confusion as he processed the information. But we put so much work into this. We believed we could make a difference. I know. I thought they would see the potential, Jason said, the weight of disappointment pressing heavily against his chest. Maybe we need to rethink everything. No. Maya cut in, her tone sharper than he had ever heard. This is just one bump in the road. We can't let it define us. As those words hung in the air, a spark of determination flickered within Jason. She was right. The initial rejection was a hurdle, a challenge to overcome. He straightened up, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. What if we turned this into motivation? Yes, we can look for alternatives. We could fundraise or create our own events to get support. Right, Leo added, his initial disappointment morphing into resolve. We can reach out to people in the community, find local businesses. It's not just about grants, it's about building a network of support. I bet there are folks who want to invest in kids like us. Jason felt adrenaline course through him. The room pulsated with a new energy. Exactly. Let us not only focus on what we've lost but what we can gain from here on. Our message is still strong, and if we present passionately, people will see the value. Maya grinned, her enthusiasm returning. Let us talk about hosting a series of small fundraisers leading up to Voices Rising. We could get local talent involved, musicians, artists to showcase their skills, maybe even provide a space where we could collect donations. Yes. Jason's heart raced. We can convert the initial setback into something bigger. Each event could be a stepping stone, drawing more attention, building excitement. As the three of them brainstormed deeper into the night, a plan began to take shape, tight and sturdy like the foundation of a shelter. They would approach local cafes, community centers, and even schools to host events. Remember the soccer kids we saw? Leo said, his voice bubbling with enthusiasm. We could collaborate with them, get them involved to spread the word. Make this a true community effort. Maya nodded vigorously. And we should reach out on social media, create teaser posts about the upcoming events. We'll spread the message as far as possible. As they bounced ideas back and forth, their dreams igniting like fireworks in the sky, Jason felt a sense of purpose wash over him. They were going to rise from this together stronger and more united than ever. They were turning the pain of rejection into a powerful force for change. At last, Jason wrapped up their planning. Let us put together a schedule for our months ahead. Strike while the iron is hot. We have momentum. We can do this. Leo's eyes gleamed with determination. I want to reach every kid who feels lost, just like me. I want them all to realize they're not alone. Maya leaned in, her voice gentle yet firm. And in doing so, we'll find our own ways to rise, too. We're all part of this together. With renewed strength and grit, they sealed their plans with a collective nod, their hearts beating in sync with purpose. They stumbled once, but that only fueled their ambitions. The dawn of their dream was just on the horizon, flickering with possibility, waiting for them to chase after it. The next few weeks unfolded with rapid intensity. They held meetings with local businesses, shared their vision with anyone who would listen, and watched in awe as community support rallied around them. Volunteers signed up eager to join their mission, and friends stepped forward ready to lend a hand. The passion ignited grew and spread, and suddenly they were all part of something much bigger than themselves. Finally, it happened. The day of Voices Rising arrived, and the cafe buzzed with anticipation. The air crackled with excitement, the laughter of kids painting walls with hope. Jason stood at the entrance, a wide smile stretching across his face as he watched Leo address the gathering crowd, the confidence radiating from him like sunlight. We are here not just to find answers, but to ask questions. Leo called out, his voice shaking with excitement. This is our chance to tell our stories, to show that there is strength in vulnerability. The crowd erupted into applause, a wave of sound washing over Jason, lifting him into a space of bliss. Whether they met obstacles or united for a cause, they were doing it together. As the day unfolded, Jason could see the realization settling in. Their shared struggles, their united voices, this was how change happened. Not through grants or contracts, but through community, heart, and relentless hope. And right there, in that moment, Jason understood it. They had built something real. They would continue rising, with all their ambitions intertwined, creating a lasting legacy that stretched beyond themselves, building a billion-dollar empire anchored in love, resilience, and the power of dreams. The fire inside Jason burned bright, illuminating everything he had fought for. He knew, without a doubt, that this was just the beginning. Now, as we close the door on this transformative journey, I urge you all. You need to subscribe now to witness the next wave of exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that like button right now to help amplify these voices. Comment with your reactions and feelings about this amazing journey and what it means to you. And for the love of transformation, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this change. Don't wait not even one more second to help us continue elevating these incredible stories. Each action matters. Together, we can make a difference.